Hello, everyone, and welcome to Employee Engagement That Sticks, How to Attract and Retain Top Talent, America's Charities and Coscast. I'm Laura Plato with Coscast. We will begin in just about 1 minute. We're just waiting for a few more of our participants to join. And just a reminder, this call is being recorded today, so we'll have a recording available for you after the webinar is over. So just about 1 minute, we'll get started. All right, hello everybody again. So welcome again to Employee Engagement That Sticks, How to Attract and Retain Top Talent, hosted by America's Charities and Coscast. I'm Laura Plato. I am the COO of Coscast and happy to be here with you today. We've got a great, very fast-paced presentation to share with you. So we'll start it off by just running quickly through our agenda. We're going to do a couple of introductions. We're going to share a lot of facts and figures and information with you in about 20 minutes. And then we'll have a little bit of time left over for Q&A. And then we will also be teeing up some follow-up information we're going to send to you as a result of the webinar. So again, thanks for joining us. I am Laura Plato. I'm the COO and GM of Go-to-Market for Coscast. And I am joined today by Jim Starr, the CEO of America's Charities. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Laura. It's great to speak with you, and welcome, everybody.
Wonderful. So Jim's going to get us kicked off here, and I will go on mute as he does so. So thanks, Jim.
Great. Laura, thank you so much. Pleasure to speak with everybody today and talk about how effective employee engagement can really boost and support an organization's employee recruitment and retention strategies. Here at America's Charities, we conduct annual research on the state of employee engagement via employee giving, employee volunteering, and other corporate social responsibility strategies. And on the slide in front of you on your screen are some of the findings from our latest survey in 2015, where you can see that there is overwhelming support for strong and effective employee engagement programs. 70% of the companies believe that their employees expect them to be socially responsible. And 88% believe that having an effective program actually is a positive force in helping them attract and retain their employees, and believe that that's actually an important aspect of their overall recruitment strategy for millennials as well. So the case for an effective employee engagement program is there to drive your recruitment and your retention. But what exactly is effective employee engagement? Well, we like to look at it as a program that can help you connect. It connects you. An effective employee engagement program should be connected to your social and business mission. It should be aligned with what's important to your company, from how it wants to make a difference in its community, the country, and the planet. But effective programs also leverage what the company does, what products and services it provides, and ties its own value proposition to making a difference through supporting charitable organizations. So there needs to be a strong connection between your program and what you're trying to accomplish, and that of the organization and what it wants to, the difference and impact it wants to have in its community. So that leads to the second connection, and that is to causes that matter. Causes that matter are those that are important to the company and to the employees. An effective program creates strong bonds and partnerships with organizations and nonprofits that help reinforce the business and its social missions. But they are also aligned with the employees' interests as well. That means finding causes that are important not just to the company, but to each of the employees. However, best-in-class programs also support individual employee engagement for whatever cause that individual employee chooses to support. In essence, it's a program that's providing choice and providing connection to the company's causes. Thirdly, an effective program needs to connect to employees in how they want to engage. There are many ways to engage your employees in employee giving and volunteering, and those are the two most common. So providing employees the opportunity to donate to their favorite causes gives them a convenient and easy way to support that cause and feel engaged. And offering multiple ways to do so is also important. Payroll deduction, which is the most effective, credit card, PayPal, check, and other forms. But volunteering is also a fast-growing way to engage your employees. There are multiple ways to provide these opportunities to your employees. Things like company-sponsored team volunteering, supporting individual employee volunteering, skills-based volunteering, and pro bono services are just some of the most common examples. And lastly, your program needs to connect to impact. Employees today are looking for more than just the opportunity to engage. They want to know that their time is making a difference and having real impact. Walks and special events find ways to bring employees together for a cause, but more and more employees are looking for that transformational experience, the kind that touches their hearts and creates lifelong commitment. Examples include direct service experiences, efforts that transform a nonprofit, and ones where they know that their effort led to a measurable result. So it's important to work with organizations and causes that can demonstrate their impact and translate their efforts and the contributions of your employees to their own impact and how it is improving the community and the lives that they serve. So having an effective employee engagement program, as you can see, is critical and can be a crucial strategy for recruitment and retention, but it needs to be one that creates connections. And Laura's going to talk a little bit about more of how these strong CSR programs engage and some specific tips for you on how to create that. Laura?
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, you bet. Thanks so much, Jim. So you guys just heard some great ideas from Jim about employee sentiment, why it matters, and how and why you may want to start thinking about structuring your employee engagement efforts and tying them much more closely to community. And I've got a few stats up here. Before I get into those, I want to just share a couple of things. I'm sure that most of you who've joined us today already know that CauseCast, we are all about employee engagement. With our partnership with America's Charities, we're all about making sure that companies get their employees out there, connected very closely with some of the leading nonprofits in the field, get folks out there in their communities volunteering. We offer a very powerful technology platform and the services and partnerships that really make these engagement efforts happen. So why does it matter? I mean, do strong CSR programs really engage? I think you all have heard some of the very disheartening statements that are out there, some of the statistics around what disengagement is costing organizations. So let's just start there and put a pin in it first as we think about what the business case for CSR really is and for up-leveling your community engagement efforts. We estimate $450 billion to about $550 billion in lost productivity every year through disengagement. 84% of senior leaders are saying that disengaged employees are one of the three biggest threats facing their business. And nearly half of next-gen employees out there are already looking for a new job while they're working in their current job. So the statistics are pretty clear. Engagement is very, very important. And inside of engagement is this lever called community engagement. One of the most important ones, I think America's Charities and CauseCast both believe, one of the very most important ones you can offer. Well, how does it help, and what's the data showing? We see that when folks have strong CSR programs that revolve around their employees volunteering and giving specifically, we've got increases of about 13% in productivity, a reduction in employee turnover of over 50%. 71% of employees who are surveyed say they feel more positive about the companies they're working for when they get a chance to engage in giving and volunteering efforts at work. And 93% of employees who volunteer say they're happy with their employer. Now, happiness may not be all of it, but it's absolutely fundamental and foundational to employee engagement. So extremely, extremely important. I think it's pretty clear that organizations who are making social responsibility a part of how they do business and then locate their employees at the center of those strategies are actually going to be more successful. The data's showing this now. And one of our big feelings about this, they're going to win this so-called war for talent that we've all heard so much about, not only with millennials, but now Gen Z coming up as well. These are folks who absolutely have community at their hearts. So very important for us all to be thinking about this. I wanted to give all of you some statistics to draw back on as you think about how do we build the business case for up-leveling our programs or starting a program in our organization. And now I want to give you just a few tips before we get into Q&A. How can you really create a compassionate culture committed to doing good while you're doing good business at your organization? So let's start off with number one. I call this how to create a culture of purpose, getting giving in your DNA. And number one, get serious about making giving and volunteering part of your organization's DNA. So my question to you is, do you have giving back as part of your mission or vision statement at your company or your organization today? If not, then you need to make sure that you align a mission statement for your social responsibility program with your business mission statement. Align them, lead from the top, get your C-level execs involved. Authentic advocacy is going to come from having that very clearly stated vision and mission statement. You want to make sure that you're communicating your company's clear commitment to social responsibility and that your leaders are living it every single day and role modeling it every single day. Number two, connecting social purpose to jobs, roles, and responsibilities at your company. The biggest tip I can give you if you're not sitting in the HR team today is to go find your HR business partner and engage with them to make sure that every employee's job description or performance management process actually has connections to their the social purpose of your company, and make sure that they understand the social connections and relevance. Social purpose embedded in jobs, not in addition to jobs, but as part of your role and responsibility, because employees who can give back can then feel that they're directly contributing to the success of your company or organization and making a difference for the world, positively impacting their communities. This will really increase how much your employees care about your organization and how likely they are to find meaning and relevance in their role and in being a part of your organization, even if they're not finding a ton of meaning in their current job. Number three, we've all heard about pro bono and skills-based volunteering. Extremely important for you to be thinking about. 90% of human resources professionals are now saying that pro bono is an effective way to develop leadership skills in your talent. So skills-based volunteering can absolutely not be overemphasized. This is a great place to start. Start looking at how you can put your skills into the communities that you support. And Jim touched on this earlier. It's about relationships with nonprofits. So ask them what they need. Don't just tell them what you have to offer. Number four, this is an absolute must-have for benefits, and this is a great time of year. Many of us are going through benefits enrollment right now. Get together with your benefits team, or if you're in the benefits team, get together with your CSR folks and think about how matching gift policies, paid time off for volunteering, and other very key pivotal things inside of corporate giving can be part of your benefits package. Get those into the benefits communications and put it right front and center in your employees' vision as they're thinking about their own connection to your company at a really exciting, important time of year. Number five, I've called talent development. And the question here is, how are you thinking about corporate social responsibility and your commitment to community as part of your development strategy and your performance management strategy? And this is one that's a little bit controversial, but I really want to put a pin in it. If you are not allowing employees to demonstrate their skills and strengths to their management in a way that perhaps they otherwise have been able to see it, you're doing them a disservice. And that means getting this into their performance management process. This can be a little bit tricky, can be a little bit touchy, but at the end of the day, it's a really great idea to assess employees' volunteering performance alongside their overall job performance. This helps reaffirm that number one, giving in the DNA value, the fact that you actually care about this and you're so committed to it. Of course, it's part of their day job. And this will really help drive more volunteer participation as well as engagement levels, as folks have an opportunity to explore other avenues of their skills and talents that maybe are not being utilized today. Finally, I can't emphasize this one enough. It's about recognition. Recognize, recognize, recognize. Energize your employees through recognizing their efforts in the community, sharing their volunteer stories, measuring the goals and the progress against goals for your organization, and being very clear on how your folks are contributing to it every single day. All of this is really going to help you contribute to building a brand as an employer that is absolutely irresistible. And that's what we all want to be, right? Is irresistible workplaces. To put a pin in this one, 61% of millennials now consider a company's commitment to the community when they're making a job decision. And I can tell you, as a hiring manager myself, I'm hearing it every single day. It's either the number 2 or number 3 question that candidates ask me when I'm trying to describe the roles that I have available to them. This is going to be the best way to engage next-gen talent. So to wrap us up, before we head into the Q&A portion, just want to emphasize this idea of irresistible employer brand really stems from having a long-term commitment to your corporate social responsibility, thinking about your next-gen talent that you're trying to engage and the current folks that are in your workplace, making sure you think about how all of these folks over time are going to be influenced by causes and issues, really thinking about how you're going to inspire short-term engagement and also long-term engagement as well. And that comes from showing the impact. So don't be afraid to share those stories and share them authentically and empower and allow everyone on your team to be brand ambassadors for you as well. Really tell your impact story. Get out there and use tools and technologies that help you promote your story authentically through your brand ambassadors, your employees. Be committed to storytelling. And make sure that everyone across your entire company has access to those stories and can share the story on your behalf. Every job needs to have social purpose as part of its DNA if you really want to do this and do it well. And consider even incorporating some of your social value emphasis into job titles as a starting point of thinking about what it looks like to have giving in your DNA. All right, so we're getting ready to wrap up here. Very rapid webinar today, purpose being to really hit you with some great data, get you thinking about this stuff. We wanted to open it up and spend a little bit of time on Q&A. So we'll go ahead and move to that slide. We've got a couple of pivot questions here in case anybody needs some seeds to get them thinking, but otherwise just love to open it up for questions and whatever's on your mind. That was the rapid firest webinar I think I've ever done, Jim.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I think one of the things we wanted to ask folks, and I don't know if this is top of mind for anybody, but can I just ask out there if you already have a strategy around employee attraction, retention, and engagement, and do you have CSR as a part of that?
Oh, Laura, it looks like we may have a question out there from maybe a Nikki.
Yeah,
Are you out there?
I see it. Let's see.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think it's coming in.
We'll let Nikia continue formulating her question. I see another one that's come in. How do you recommend getting our executive team on board with the importance of recognition and engagement? That is a great question. Thinking about how to get those executives more engaged with the idea that, okay, I see we have a little bit of a can't hear question out there. Okay. How do you recommend getting our executive team on board with the importance of recognition and engagement? So, Jim, I don't know if you have a couple thoughts you want to add there. Would you like me to start off?
I'll just maybe say a couple of things and turn it to you, Laura. You know, the first part is to really kind of demonstrate the value to the organization and to the business. We get similar types of questions from many of those that are looking to launch an employee engagement program where their number one obstacle is convincing their leadership team that this is important to do. And so that argument can be made from, it needs to be made from two different standpoints. One is speaking to, basically you speak to the head, speak to the mind, show the intellectual, you know, here's how it will drive improved business results. And here's the data that supports a good employee engagement program brings to an organization with respect to the war for talent, as Laura referenced earlier. And so between the two of us, we've provided you some of that data, and there's plenty of other data sources out there for you to tap. The second is to tap into the heart and to really kind of speak to the importance of every company being a great corporate citizen and a great community contributor, and an extremely, if not the easiest way to do that is through running your own employee engagement program or employee giving and volunteering program. It does take a little effort on the part of the organization to do so, but the payback from that, in that you can leverage the efforts and donations from your entire workforce, far outweigh that.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that I would point to in terms of engagement of your executive team in recognition is to really find single focus opportunities that you can do. So, for example, have an executive send a specific employee who you want to recognize, who you know is a leader in the program, an email, or make a phone call and leave a voicemail. It goes a long way. And when they hear that feedback from the employee and how delighted they are, I think it really starts to help them mobilize around thinking, gosh, I could do more of this more often. It doesn't take that much time. And the payoff is huge. The other piece around it, I would say, in general, with getting executives on board with engagement is, as Jim said, definitely point back to the ROI and the business case. There's a ton of materials out there. CostCast publishes a ton of materials, America's Charities as well. Lots of great publications out there that you can actually share with your execs to help them understand why this is so valuable. One of the key publications I love is America's Charities Snapshot, which they publish on a year-round basis. And that can really give your execs a chance to take a look at how powerful this work is and how these pieces of recognition and awareness of employees fit in to it. So I'm really glad you're asking the question, because it's absolutely critical to get these guys on board. I think the other thing that I've seen that's really great is start where you are. So get an activity going. Don't be afraid to do something that's kind of grassroots, a volunteer activity that's very hands-on, and get your executives and your influencing leaders involved in that activity. Get them to roll their sleeves up. Because there's nothing like doing something that creates meaning in your day and gets you in touch with the communities you're serving, to help executives move forward with seeing, gosh, this could be valuable to everyone, because here's how I felt today. It was so inspirational. It was so motivational to see how we were helping folks. That can be another great technique.
Hey, Laura, I see there's a couple more questions that have come in, and there's a couple that kind of are very similar, and let me see if I can try to combine the two, and then perhaps we can answer it as a combo question here. Essentially, one person was asking about the difference between doing a program in a social enterprise, or perhaps a nonprofit, versus a corporation. And then another question dealt with startups, and how can a startup really kind of get engaged in this space with limited to no resources around that. So let me just take a first crack at some high-level thoughts, and then Laura, turn it to you. So starting with a social enterprise or nonprofit, we've seen many nonprofits actually have very effective engagement programs. The challenge that they sometimes run into is trying to balance between their own needs and providing that choice for employees who may be inclined to not only support the organization and cause that they work for, but also others. And so that's usually a very tight line that a nonprofit tries to walk. And how we ask them to do it is, from an execution standpoint, an operational standpoint, there really is not that much difference between a nonprofit and a corporation running an employee engagement program. The basics are the basics, and their tactics are the tactics. It's a matter of determining what you want your employees to focus on, how aggressively do you want to promote your own organization over the causes that employees may want to also support. And so it's essentially trying to figure out that fine line between those two things. But as far as the execution and the operations of it, not a great deal of difference in a nonprofit than there would be in a corporation. One operational difference is obviously the funds that you collect for yourself. you don't have to send them anywhere except for your own bank account. So with the startup, we are finding and seeing more and more smaller organizations wanting to get more active in the CSR space and are looking for solutions to help them do that, particularly since they really don't have a lot of bandwidth to put towards this. And so one of those ways is to leverage a technology solution. Technology solutions can help you organize your effort. They can ease some of the administrative burdens of collecting information, posting information, advertising or promoting certain opportunities and things of that nature. Technology is definitely a huge tool in allowing smaller companies to get more engaged. And oftentimes what we've seen, it just really takes the passion of one individual who's willing just to do that extra step to really, kind of rally the team, or to go find that opportunity in the community where they can come together as a team and do some good. So it does like most things with small companies and startups, you got to find the person that's got a passion for a particular thing and leverage the heck out of it, and then use technology to help facilitate and grow the program.
Absolutely. And I see, just to dovetail off that and to answer one of the final questions here as we're just wrapping up, I know we're running a little short on our time. This idea of building brand ambassadors, building on your bright spots is the way I always talk about it. Who's the bright spot in your organization? As Jim said, who's that person out there who's already demonstrating the passion and leadership for it, and having that, pointing out that person, recognizing their efforts and allowing them, empowering them to help you drive the program. It also dovetails in with what I was talking about in terms of this actually being part of your performance management processes, being part of your expectations of employees. And I want to put a pin in the idea that it's not necessarily a requirement, because I think sometimes that can be confusing. Is volunteering now a requirement? If we empower our employees to become our brand ambassadors, if we empower them to lead these programs and champion these efforts for us, I think that a little bit of a way to think about it is, it's not so much that it's a requirement as it is empowering folks foundationally to think about it as part of their job that they probably would already be doing anyways. But now they get recognition, rewards, and benefits because they're doing it. So it's a much higher degree of justification for allowing and empowering the behavior. And it's a way for these folks, all of our folks, to really expand their skills and demonstrate new skills and capabilities. So it's not like a punitive approach, as a requirement sort of implies. It's more of a responsibility that we all have as good citizens of this planet to give back. And I think one of the things that's going to shift, because part of the question here is, well, how do we shift our culture to that? So one is an internal mindset. You need to work with your HR partners in particular, have been huge advocates for me in my own career, in helping me think about this and how do we structure this really well. So definitely getting your HR business partners on board will be huge, but it's also looking at that. My personal perspective is this is already shifting in our DNA as a civilization, basically. Folks are already thinking this way. So if you look at that millennial data, that Gen Z data, these are folks who expect CSR to be part of their giving back, of their role, giving back to be part of their role. So I actually think you're going to find the shift is easier than perhaps it has been in the past as the next gen comes out of college and starts to fill into the workforce. So I hope that's helpful and answers that question. Now, it looks to me like we have just a couple of minutes left, so we can probably take one or two more questions if Jim and I can be brief, which is always a challenge. Otherwise, anything else coming in that you saw, Jim?
No, I am not seeing anything.
Okay. Well,
I think we've got everything covered.
Did we get everything covered that came through? Okay. And then if anyone does have any other questions, feel free. You can absolutely contact us, and we will do our very best to respond to you. We'll round all those up and answer any questions that you didn't get a chance to answer or didn't get an answer that you were 100% confident or clear on today. Feel free to follow up with us. We've also got a couple of pieces here for follow-up. So as I said, we've been recording this call, and we will send out the recording to all of you and to all the folks that weren't able to join us today that were registered. And then we also will be sending you a couple of additional downloadable resources, which we hope you'll find valuable. A great piece from America's Charities on how you can actually build leadership buy-in, which will further add to the question that we just answered a moment ago. And then also a piece from Coscast on how you can do more to engage your employees who are stuck at their desks or in the office in some way and aren't actually able to get out there in the field. Two critical challenges: leadership buy-in and engaging our employees who are stuck at their desks. So we'll be shooting that off to you as well. As I said, if you have any other questions, please feel free. Jim and I love to answer questions. And trying this short webinar format has been a bit of an experiment for us, and I think it's been really fun. But it does mean we'll enjoy that follow-up as well. So thank you all so much for joining us today for this webinar. Can't wait to speak with all of you again. It's just been great to get a chance to share this information with you, and I really appreciate you trusting America's Charities and Coscast with your time today and investing in us. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
And thank you, Laura. Bye now.
Thank you, Jim. Bye-bye.